On Friday morning, it's going to check up our weather. Many people wondering, Alex, how in the world are we talking about severe weather? And it's 38 degrees outside right now.
Yeah, great question. And I've got a great answer for you. It's because we live next to the Atlantic Ocean. Yeah, so through the day today, we're going to be watching an area of warm air, basically, that's down near the coast, come into central Georgia. And that's going to destabilize our atmosphere as we get into the afternoon. We got a couple question marks with that. One being, how far north does that warm air get? And exactly how warm is the air? And that is going to drive our severe weather threat for the day. So there's a live look at downtown. It is a cold morning. You are going to want the jacket as you head out the door. But you look off to the west and you see storms back into Mississippi and Alabama. Again, quiet in central Georgia at the moment, but a tornado watch now comes right up to the Mississippi state line. A handful of tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings back into Arkansas and Mississippi as well. We're going to be looking at really two potential waves of storms today. Wave 1 is going to be what you see here in Mississippi and Alabama. Wave 2 is Arkansas and Louisiana right now, and those obviously working their way to the east. So let's talk about it. A level 2 severe weather risk in place for central Georgia. This is a change from what we had yesterday, a downgrade from a 3 to a 2, but it is not an all clear. Today, we're going to be watching for the risk of damaging winds, tornadoes, and large hail across central Georgia. We kind of dig into the outlook a little bit, and what you're going to find is the wind risk moved from this red area down to the yellow, which brought it down to a 2. Similarly, with the tornado risk, that moved from the yellow area down to the brown, but then also up to the north of Forsyth and Gray and Eatonton. We're going to be looking at even less of a tornado risk, and that is because we have question marks about how far north this warm air is able to get through the day today. Regardless, we are going to be watching for the threat of severe weather, no doubt about it, in central Georgia. So let's talk about the potential impacts and the timeline of this as we work our way into the afternoon. By the noon hour, we are going to be looking at a couple rogue storms out ahead of the main line. Now, a couple questions with this is, one, you look at the temperatures, 50 degrees. How much thunderstorm energy is going to be available for these cells? Notice up here at the top, it says radar and thunderstorm energy. What do you see here? The radar. What do you not see? Any thunderstorm energy. So we're going to be watching to see how that plays out. But then notice the temperatures rising as we work our way into the afternoon. 60s down to the south, a couple more rogue storms. I do think the bigger severe weather risk, the more potent severe weather risk is going to come later in the afternoon with this second wave. So there's 3 p.m. there. You see these storms begin to move into central Georgia by 6 o'clock. We have that thunderstorm energy available. And I also want to point out to you, I know here on Future View, you don't see any oranges or reds or yellows embedded within there, but I do still think we are going to see that. I think this is just more indicative of we're not looking at a ton of rain out of this, generally speaking, less than a ½ inch. So a lot to watch through the day today. Here is the timeline. Beginning around 11 a.m. or noon is when that severe weather risk will technically begin with those storms out ahead, wave 1. But then from about 2 to 6 o'clock today, I think is going to be when the severe weather risk is at its maximum. The damaging wind risk going to be slightly higher than the tornado and hail risk, but we're going to be watching for it all across central Georgia with everything wrapping up by about 8, 9 o'clock tonight as the line moves out. On top of this, we also have a wind advisory in effect today. This is going to be for sustained winds, 15 to 20 miles an hour, but outside of thunderstorms, we could see gusts up to about 40 miles an hour. So partly cloudy skies, you're out there walking the dog, you could get a 40-mile-an-hour gust across central Georgia today. That begins at 10 a.m. and is going to last until 1 a.m. tomorrow morning. Into tomorrow morning, we will get down near the freezing mark, struggle to get out of the 40s for a high temperature tomorrow. I do think a couple spots will make it into the 50s, including Macon. I've got a high temperature of 52, but this ahead of another Arctic outbreak next week. This is going to bring cold air across the eastern 2/3 of the country. For us in central Georgia, this is going to bring us high temperatures in the 40s and lows, get ready for this one, down into the teens. Could even see wind chills potentially in the single digits before the week is over. So here it is, 67 today, this level 2 risk of severe storms, 50s for the weekend. This is a cold front coming through after all, a 30% chance of rain on Monday and Tuesday. But there are the cooler temperatures, highs in the 40s and overnight low 31 Tuesday morning, 16 Wednesday morning, followed by 20 degrees on Thursday morning. We'll begin a new warming trend into the following weekend.
Okay, thank you, Alex. If you don't already have it, download the 13 WMAZ mobile app. You can get it in the Google Play or Apple Store, or can't scan the QR code on your screen. Once you get the app, be sure to sign up for notifications. You'll get the latest weather and news alerts sent right to your phone. We're back in a moment.